Film fans YouTube, hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Josh, your movie apprentice, and today I am looking at The Fall Guy, directed by David Leitch and starring Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Winston Duke, and Hannah Waddingham. This follows a down-on-his-luck stuntman who is hired to track down the missing actor on his ex's feature directorial debut. But the actor is in some shady stuff, so shenanigans do ensue. Before I get into my review, if you like what you're seeing on the channel, click the like button and subscribe for more video reviews that's coming all the time. Without further ado, let's jump right into this. So The Fall Guy is finally here after months of advertisements, right down to a skit between Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt at the Oscars. We finally have The Fall Guy here in all its glory to really showcase people in film, especially stuntmen, and the crime it is that they are not currently getting rewarded for their hard work in movie productions. And I will say straight off the bat, if you are someone that has worked on film sets or someone that's always dreamed of working on film sets but hasn't quite got there, this movie is for you, because this film has hopefully brought a new appreciation to all the small people within a film production. Not just talking about the stuntmen and stunt coordinators, I am talking about the runners, the production assistants, the camera operators, the sound guys, the extras that just sit in the background. All these people are given some small form of spotlight within The Fall Guy. It is very much a love letter to the unsung heroes of a film set, with a great emphasis obviously focused on stuntmen. As for the stuff they do, they go very much underappreciated. The only hardcore stunt person I can think of that ever really gets mentioned is Jackie Chan, because of all the injuries he has sustained, how he does all his own stunts. Other than that, I never hear much about any stuntmen spoken out in a wider context. And Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt have a unquestionable, undeniable chemistry in this. They have this very real dynamic between them. They are ex-lovers that happen to be working together on a film shoot, and there is still that tension there, both hostile and loving, and the way it's handled is very real and very mature. Some of the exchanges where there's that awkwardness between them, but they're also both holding their poker face together to not really divulge how they're truly feeling to each other or allowing themselves to become too vulnerable. That is a great aspect. And I really enjoy the dynamic between Ryan Gosling and Winston Duke's character in this. And there was this great little sequence where Emily Blunt is basically giving the stuntman a hazing ritual that gets some of the biggest laughs in the movie. And it also balances well as a bit of comedy, but also adding a bit of exposition into how the characters feel. And there is a lot of meta commentary in this as well. There is a direct conversation about split screen whilst the split screen is happening on camera. But again, these are conversations that would be happening between a director and other people on a movie. Yeah, not necessarily the stunt performer and the director, but you know the director is going to be having these conversations with the editors, the script supervisors, the producers. They're going to be having these conversations. So that aspect and acknowledgement of it fit together very well. But I am getting sidetracked here. Of course, the stuntmen are the real heroes, and the film makes sure to show a lot of set pieces that have a lot of stunt work required. Stay for the credits, because there is this whole sizzle reel in the old school credits on the right, video camera on the left. It just shows the actual stunts taking place from a behind the scenes camera. And I thought it was a very nice, insightful look and a direct acknowledgement to the stunt performers in this movie. All the stunts in this are really well done. And just seeing how insane some of these things are even before the effects really goes to show you just how much these people put their bodies on the line for. We're going into the actual meat of the movie, because I've kind of been avoiding talking about that so far. I will say that has a very predictable element to it, and that the comedy, the meta comedy when it comes to film sets and the discussions had on film sets, it's funny to me, but I feel like because of the genre of the comedy that is being portrayed, it leads to the film being very niche in its audience. And I don't think the film's going to completely land for everybody, because we kind of know where it's going to go. We know who the villain's going to end up being. It's kind of obvious in a massive red herring sort of way. And whilst I loved Aaron Taylor Johnson's performance in this, I felt like he very much felt like a side character and never directly felt like a main focus of the film. And at times I almost forgot that the main plot was Ryan Gosling trying to find Aaron Taylor-Johnson's character, but instead we focus on the romance that, whilst we do get the romance scenes and the chemistry between Gosling and Blunt is great, that sometimes takes a backseat as well. And at times the film can feel quite unfocused. The action set pieces are very entertaining and the exchanges between characters are really good as well. But I couldn't help but feel that the Fall Guy was missing an extra little spark that could have really knocked it over the edge for me. There's a number of characters that kind of just show up, are established briefly for 3 to 4 minutes, then they're gone for the rest of the movie, only to show up towards the end. However, I will say there's a great little cameo sequence at the very end of the movie that had me in absolute stitches. And the way the film evolved, it was a nice ride to sit back and observe and watch and digest. And if this wasn't a big call to all the awards people out there to make a stunt category, for Christ's sake, this is very much a film that's trying to get the more general public on board on having stunts have their own category, because everyone that's a massive film fan wants this sort of category. Bringing it to just the casual viewer as well, I like that the film is trying to do that. Ryan Gosling is funny as always. I am loving this current renaissance of Ryan Gosling playing the sensitive macho man. That seems to be his role over his last couple of movies, and I am absolutely living for it. He is practically demonstrating how to be this tough guy whilst also being sensitive. There is a great little moment where he has a bit of a monologue and kind of pours his heart out to Emily Blunt, where it basically gives away that he was dealing with some deep personal issues. Anyone that's been to those deep places knows exactly what he's talking about, so I appreciate the film having a subtle nudge and hint towards that, but never making it a true focal point. The comedy and the emotion does balance together well, but unfortunately for me, it doesn't quite make this a great movie. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because it was advertised for the longest time before it's finally come out. That has made me maybe overestimate how good it was going to be. But it just felt like there was that tiny bit missing. I think the predictability of who the eventual villain was going to be was a big negative, and how some characters kind of show up and get forgotten about for the majority of the film. And whilst I appreciated that the stuntman could do some of the crazy stuff he does, some other characters could do this crazy stuff, and you're really questioning how they can feasibly do this in such a way. Now, I know not to expect realism going into this film, but at the same time, when it does make some things feel real, it makes some of the out there moments feel more out there, if that makes sense. Before I get into my grade, if you like seeing our channel, click the like button and subscribe for more video reviews that's coming all the time. But without further ado, let's grade this. So the Fall Guy, Gosling and Blunt are great. The stuntmen are put front and center as they should be. If you're a film fan or someone that's always wanted to work on film sets, then this film is for you. And it is a fun time at the movies, but its predictable elements, its script shortcomings at times, and just the general lack of true spark that the film has. I feel like we were oversaturated to this film long before it came out. So when it's finally come out, the flame has, for the most part, burnt out. I'm going to have to say that for me, the Fall Guy is a tea that needs more sugar. So the Fall Guy, have you seen it? If you have, then you thought down in the comments below. Again, like we see on the channel, click the like button and subscribe for more video reviews that's coming all the time. But until next time, everybody, my name is Josh, I am your Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.